You're listening to the Word Witch podcast. On this episode, I'm speaking to Brianna Rose. Brianna is a trailblazer in the world of somatic leadership, energy work, and embodied business success. As the founder of Light Leader Collective and creator of the Meridian Mapping Method, she's leading the next era of business, one where the body leads and success follows. With a background as a PR and marketing director turned somatic business coach, she's helped thousands of entrepreneurs rewire their nervous systems, embody their leadership, and create businesses that don't just scale but feel deeply aligned. Her signature methodology blends Chinese medicine, somatic movement, and energy work, unlocking the body's innate wisdom to clear resistance and activate success. She's built a multiple seven-figure brand, certified light leaders worldwide, and is known for running industry-defining events like The Body Speaks. If you've ever felt like strategy alone isn't the answer, or that there's something deeper keeping you from showing up fully, she's here to help you bridge the gap. You can follow her on Instagram at I am Brianna Rose. Brianna is spelled with two N's, or you can check out www.lightleaderco.com to start your journey. That's lightleaderco.com. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Word Witch podcast. I'm your host, Domenica Millian, author coach and founder of Word Witch. This show is for spiritual teachers, healers, witches, and mystics who feel called to write a book. Not just any book, but the one that carries their message and reaches the souls who need it most. Here we talk about how to apply your spiritual tools to the writing process so that you can position yourself as the authority in your niche, expand your reach, heal through your own words, and create a passive income stream that supports your sacred work. Let's make some magic and publish the book only you can write. Welcome back to another episode of the Word Witch podcast. I'm sitting here with Brianna Rose. Brianna, hello.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited that you're here. Can you just introduce yourself to my audience? Tell them who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Yeah, so I am Brianna Rose. I am a somatic business coach, and I am the founder and CEO of the Light Leader Collective. I'm all about body first and the business follows. And what that means is I support you with coming back home to yourself, to your body, learning how to basically reprogram yourself from the inside out. So that way you can rise into the light leader that you were born to be and truly actually step into your next level, and not just have your next level live on some vision board or Pinterest board, but actually become it, manifest it, and step into it.
Lovely. So can you just tell me really quickly, how did you come into this work? What was your first introduction into doing the work that you do?
Great question. I wasn't always doing this work. I originally had my 9 to 5 and I was a PR and marketing director. And I'm originally from New York. So I was very much in this like hustle driven overachiever culture. And in my mid 20s, I had a spiritual awakening, which was probably something that was coming for a while because I had spiritual intuitive gifts as a child, but I would just like suppress them. I was so afraid of them. I was like, please go away, go away, go away, go away. And then I had this spiritual awakening in my mid 20s, and it was like my gifts, like there was no hiding them. They were just turned all the way on. And at the time, I was still working a 9 to 5. I was a PR and marketing director. So I had this like, I almost was in this like dual identity. One part of me was like girl boss, boss babe. And this other part of me was like in my like very witchy energy. And I felt like I was living almost like a dual life, learning all about energy on one hand, then also like spreadsheets and marketing and doing all of this on the other. And it got to the point where I couldn't do both of them. It really felt like I could actually feel when I would meditate, I would see a split vision. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I could feel almost like my soul was splitting because I was trying to do one thing or the other. And so I decided to leave my 9 to 5 and I created a business, but I was still really afraid to go all in on my spiritual gifts. And so I created this like very safe business of just doing web design and brand consulting and things that felt really natural and safe. And I spent most of my time working with mentors and teachers and crafting my intuitive gifts. And through that pathway, I discovered the body. I mean, it was there this whole time, but I discovered the role of the body and its role in transformation and healing and nervous system regulation and emotional regulation. And in about 2015, 2016, I had this aha moment that the body needed to be alongside of the business, that so many of my clients had these like fears of visibility and self-expression and stepping into their own spiritual gifts, that we needed to bring in the energetic healing part of this and this body part of this and stop attacking the business from more strategy, more strategy, more strategy, more strategy. And then in 2017, I closed down my branding business. I opened up what is now the Light Leader Collective, and it's all about blending in the body with the business strategy. And I haven't looked back since.
That's wonderful. Well, I'm so grateful that you haven't looked back since, because now we get to be in your energy, be in all of the beautiful things that you give the world.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, can I ask you, what were your gifts, like your spiritual gifts, when you started to open up, even as a child? Like, what were those things?
Yeah, I'm happy to share. I feel like I do a lot of these podcasts, but like most people don't ask me this question. So I'm so happy that you're asking. So some of my earliest memories are being able to see spirit. So I could see people that were technically there. I could see energies, see spirits, and I just like prayed for it to stop because it scared the crap out of me as a little kid. And then when I was in my mid 20s, I had my spiritual awakening. It was like this veil was just like pulled back and everything was full throttle. I could see auras and energies and different energy types and different ascended masters and angels and people that have passed on. And originally, to be honest, when I was still working my 9 to 5, and even when I left my 9 to 5, the first 4 years I actually studying mediumship and channeling. That was where I thought that I was going to go down. And so I started to develop a mediumship based business and a channeling based business. And although it was something that I was like technically like I could do and that's what my gifts were, it didn't bring me like my highest and greatest joy. I knew it wasn't like my true life purpose, but it was something that I studied heavily. And I still feel that that ability to do that, to channel energy and facilitate energy, has helped me with the business that I have today. I might not be charging for mediumship sessions any longer, but the ability to facilitate energy and move energy through my body and tap in has been such a profound skill set that I'm so grateful that I did fine tune, even though I might not be actually using it in its most normal way.
Talk to me a little bit more about that embodiment practice that you're describing. What does that look like in the business setting? Because so often we are just taught to put your nose to the grindstone, do, like
Yeah.
get all of the very masculine things
Yeah.
as like your daily tasks. The things that you're doing all the time are just, they're so masculine, they're so head driven. And as writers, well, for me as a writer, that's also a very heady kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I say that with a caveat, and my listeners know that I believe that when we are writing, we are channeling. And so it's
Yes.
like this marriage of divine feminine, like channeling, and masculine doing. So, like the
Yeah.
actual typing or writing, if you're writing with your hand.
Yeah.
So, in the business setting, what does it look like to use your body to move that energy through? Whatever
Mm.
kind of energy are you moving through?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you are speaking my love language because I feel the same way as you. It's the balance and the blend of feminine and masculine. And that's how I see business as well. It's not one or the other, it's them working together in conjunction. And so when it comes to moving energy in the body is a sponge and the body absorbs energy and it absorbs beliefs, it absorbs traumas, and it's also carrying inherited belief systems and traumas from your past lives and also like what's been passed down to you. And when I was first studying this like a decade ago and talking about this, people thought I was batshit crazy. But now what's cool is there have been scientific studies that are proven that yes, you are carrying basically your ancestry within you, within your cells, within your muscle memory. And so you come into this life with stuff already stuck in your body. And then you're a human that goes through life that your body is constantly absorbing. It's like this silent watcher that's always there absorbing information. And so when you have these inherited traumas and also your own traumas, and traumas can be big T traumas or little T traumas, it creates a muscle memory in the body and the way the body reacts to certain situations and how you are taking action or not taking action in your life. But I specifically work with entrepreneurs, so this comes up a lot in the business. A lot of people struggle with visibility because they have visibility fears or beliefs. They're afraid of being seen. And so it's like, no matter how much you tell that person, you need to show up, you need to post, you need to go live, you need to create the reel. If they have a story in their body, if their body is holding on to a trauma that makes them feel so afraid to be seen, they're not going to do it, or they're going to do it and delete it, or they're going to do it once and then take a social media detox for a week or a month. And so when we move energy in our body through the lens of somatic, soma means body, we're moving the body in a very specific, curated way to address where the body is storing visibility blocks and essentially rewiring the body from the inside out through the nervous system, through the fascia, and through the emotional system. And I found from studying mediumship and all sorts of energy healings, I came into this work because I was doing those tools and I was like loving up and all like my crystal healing, my oracle cards and energy healing. And I love that stuff. But I also noticed that it was only providing temporary relief for me. Like I would feel good in the moment. I'd feel good for a week, but the stories were still there and the fears were still there and the beliefs were still there. And I would try to do my affirmations, do all the mindset work. And again, temporary relief, but it was still coming back. And it wasn't until I addressed the body and figured out how my body was storing the beliefs, the stories, the traumas, etc., and truly rewired it through curated, intentional, precise somatic movement, did the body actually release? Because the body does want to heal, it doesn't want to hold on to all of this. The body releases, the nervous system starts to regulate, the emotional system regulates, and then all of a sudden you're taking action. You're no longer afraid of that visibility. So that's just one scenario of how we can use this when it comes to the business as well.
That makes so much sense to me because I talk about how, as a writer, a lot of the time people think that the reason that they can't write a book or the reason that they have started a book time and time again and they've only gotten a couple of chapters in or a few pages in and then they get writer's block and then they abandon the manuscript. How that is not because you're lazy. It's not because you don't know how to write a book or you don't know how. It's not because of any outwardly thing. It is
Mm-hmm.
because there is a trauma stuck inside your body that's telling you it's not safe to write a book. And that
Mm,
could be a teacher from when you were in third grade or fourth grade or
yes.
whenever you start writing, and they told you that you were terrible at writing or you got like a D on a paper, or it could be a number of other things that have nothing to do with writing. It could
Sure.
be being bullied. It could be a authority figure who was mean to you because of something.
Yeah.
Anything that shrinks you down,
Mm,
makes you small, is the reason that you can't finish writing a book. I would love to know what your opinion is for writers, especially us who are here, who are spiritual development, personal development, and
yeah.
self-help writers or aspiring writers, how they can use somatics to heal those things inside them that are telling them, I'll never be a multi-million dollar
Yeah.
spiritual business owner. I'll never be a spiritual development writer. I'll never get a book deal. I'll never,
Mm.
all of those things. What would you say to them? How can they start to heal that part of themselves and move that away?
Oh, I love this question. Thank you so much for asking this. It's so important to have these conversations and speak about it. What I will say first and foremost is we can try to tell ourselves that we want to do these things, but as you just shared, like there's these little voices that pop in that are like, no, you could never do that. She can do it or they can do it, but you can't do it, right? And it's like as much as you might read it out like I will be a millionaire or like I will become a New York Times bestselling author, if there's a part of you that doesn't believe it, you're going to self-sabotage on your way to doing that thing that you're trying to manifest. And I say this a lot to my students. I'm like, how are you canceling out your manifestations? Like, how are you trying to manifest this thing? But then simultaneously, like you're telling yourself an entirely different story. And so the way the body works and the way the nervous system works, I find it to be incredibly fascinating because our nervous system is wired to keep us safe. And the way that the nervous system was built, it's keeping us safe from things that like our ancestors needed to be safe from a tiger, from a bear, from survival, like these true, like very root chakra, right? Like very like root chakra things it's trying to keep us safe from. And so it's programmed to keep us safe, even if our current reality isn't the reality that we actually want. It's what your nervous system is programmed to think is safe because you're alive right now. You're eating right now. You have access to your basic fundamentals of human to keep your human body alive. So your nervous system and the primal part of your mind, your reptilian mind are like, we wouldn't change this. Look, you're alive. Like you're here. You have food, you have water. This is safe. Don't do anything different other than this, even though you yourself are like writing in your manifestation journal, you are trying to manifest your dreams. There's that part of you in your body, in your mind that's saying, that's great, but this is safe. So I'm going to do everything that I can in my power to keep you in this current reality because anything outside of this, I don't know. And because I don't know it, that's unsafe. So your body goes into a survival mode. And this is what a lot of people miss when it comes to any form of manifestation is the body truly has to be rewired because if not, it's going to do everything in its power, body and mind, to make sure that thing doesn't happen because that thing is new and it's scary and it's different and it doesn't know if you can survive it or not. So it's trying to protect you. And that's why we have to bring in these nervous system pieces. And so when it comes to those fears of, I can't do that, I could never have a multi-million dollar brand, I can never do X, Y, and Z, I created a methodology. It's called the body mapping method. And essentially, it tracks how the body is storing emotions and beliefs. So, based on what your story is, based on what your belief is, there's a very specific area of the body that is holding onto that belief or that emotion. And so this is what I train people to do is how to essentially evaluate your emotions, your stories, your beliefs, figure out where it lives in the body, and then use some sort of somatic tool to essentially target that area of the body so that way the body can release and rewire itself. And so something that I share a lot, and you might even see it on my social media, is using somatic tools isn't enough. This isn't just about breath work. This isn't just about meditation. We have to use very specific forms and intentional ways to use meditation, use breath work, use yogic postures and movement to target the area of your body where your body is uniquely storing these emotions, these traumas and beliefs. And once we target it, this is the cool part, is once we target it, the body does want to heal. So once you target it and you begin the somatic tool, the body instantly releases, and we're no longer having this temporary relief that you might see from energy healings. You're seeing long lasting healing and deep transformation because once the body releases the story, the emotion, the trauma, the belief, it heals and it begins to rewire itself. And that starts to shift you into feeling better in your body, but also on an energetic level, you're releasing these emotions that tend to have lower frequencies. So once we release them, the body, your frequency can literally like vibrate higher and you start to shift into a higher frequency yourself.
That's awesome. Can you give me a concrete example of like how this would play out in real life? So let's just say I am working on, we'll just talk about books because that's why I'm here.
Oh,
So
sure.
let's say I have a client who is working on their manuscript and they are feeling like they can't get past this quote unquote writer's block and they feel it on their chest.
Yep.
What would you do to get that stuck energy in their chest
Yeah.
off so that, or move it out of their body, however you do that, so that they can get past that block and start writing freely and channel the book the way they're supposed to?
Yeah, I love this example. So, what's cool about this is oftentimes the initial sensation that you feel in your body, that's not actually the root cause. The root cause lives somewhere else in the body. And this is where our methodology, body mapping, really comes into play. So, yes, you might feel it in your heart, but typically, when it comes to any form of self expression and writing, that block doesn't live in the chest and the heart. That block actually typically lives in the lower back, in the neck, and also sometimes it's in the ankle. So any of you that are listening and you struggle with writer's block, if you have any like lower back pain, if you struggle with some neck issues, if either one of your ankles bother you, that's typically where the root cause of writer's block lives in the body. And so that's why using body mapping is so important, because most practitioners, or even if you're doing it on yourself, you're like, oh, it's in my heart, it's in my chest. I have to breathe here and try to release it. Or it's my heart chakra. Let me get my pendulum out and clear the energy, or do some self Reiki. And you will get some relief, but it's going to be a temporary relief because it's not the root cause of where the block is. So as I shared, typically it's in lower back, it's in the neck, or it's in the ankles for the most part. And this is a very like generalized, like bird's eye view of typically how these blocks are stored. And so since we know that that's where it lives in the body, we can apply a breath work, a meditation, some sort of somatic movement and sequence to target that specific area of the body. So, one mudra for those of you that are going to be listening to this, or is there a video? Will people see this as well, or is it just going to be audio?
They'll see it on YouTube.
Okay, cool. So YouTube people, you'll get to have fun. If you're someone that struggles with writer's block, this is a great mudra, which is a hand posture that you can use. You'll put your fingers like this. You want your pinkies to touch and your thumbs to touch, just like that. You're going to bring your hand into your heart center, just like so. And you want these three fingers to be spread out. And it's almost like you're giving like the gifts out to the world. That's what you want to visualize. Like the energy from writer's block, it's going outwards, because there's two ways you can use this mudra. It's either your hands are out like this or the hands are inward. Those of you that have writer's block, we don't want to go inwards anymore. We want to go outwards, and you'll pull your hands out. And you'll gently breathe here, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, and then inhaling through the mouth and exhaling through the nose. And you can do this for just 1 to 3 minutes. I did this the other day I had a masterclass with 1,400 people on the masterclass, and people were crying and having breakthroughs from doing this for literally just a minute. So if you're someone that struggles with writer's block, try this out. Normally it's way more customized when we work together, but this is something that's just a general experience to just try to get into your body and feel the sensation. And the reason why we're doing this and I'm not having you touch your lower back or touch your neck is actually the pinkies are connected to those areas of the body, which is really cool too.
So is that what am I trying to say? Is that theory or that modality, does that stem from like Chinese medicine
It
or?
does. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a mixture from Chinese medicine. The last 10 years, I've been down the rabbit hole of Chinese medicine, nervous system regulation tools, yogic sciences, and then just true science of how the body stores emotions and traumas and beliefs and whatnot. And so everything that I teach and share is always rooted in science as well, and like the true groundedness approach to these tools. And there's also, of course, the fun stuff, the energy aspects. But yes, that's rooted in the meridian system, the way that the pinkies correlate to the other areas of the body.
It was so interesting that you said it doesn't live in, for me, I feel it in my throat chakra because
Mm,
I just I just have a very closed, tight throat chakra. It's something
yeah.
that I continue to work on.
Yeah.
And so when you said lower back and ankle, so random, like lower back, maybe I could see that because we're hunched over our desks and like
Yeah.
maybe we're storing stuff there, but the ankle is a really interesting one.
Mm.
Is there a reason why the ankle, or that's just, it seems like a random spot?
Yeah, I mean, I could speak about this for hours, but the very like abridged version is the body has an entire mapping system and energy system of the way that it stores emotions, traumas, and beliefs. There are 12 main, I call them like highways, in the way that the body is holding onto these emotions. And they literally look like highways. They're just these energetic pathways that are running through the body. And just like an actual highway, when there's a car accident, there's traffic jam. And same thing here. When you have a trauma, when you have a belief, when you have something that's from your life passed down to you, it creates like a traffic jam in the highway and it backs up all of the energy. And that's why it's like you can do all the throat chakra work, but that's not actually where the root cause of it lives. There's other areas in the body. Because I too, struggled a lot with throat chakra stuff. And I spent years just trying to work on it. I'm like, it's not working. Why? And until we started learning this, I was like, oh my gosh, now I could see why that actually wasn't helping me. But back to the mapping, we have to clear that car crash. We have to clear that energy block in order for the energy to circulate. And so the specific area for visibility and self-expression, it actually runs up and down people's backside from the crown of the head down to the feet. And the most common areas in, because that's a pretty vast area of the body, right? It's like the whole backside. Typically, the three common areas where it actually stores and gets stuck is in the neck, lower back, and ankles.
So interesting. Thank you for
Yeah.
explaining that
You're
because
welcome.
I have been, like you said, working on throat chakra, doing chanting and
Yeah.
singing and all of the things, and I feel like I'm still somewhat stuck. So
Mm.
that gives me a lot of clarity. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Try out that practice and let me know how it goes for you.
I will for sure. So let's go back to feminine energy in
Yep.
business. What does that look like in a practical everyday sense?
Yeah, great question. I will say I was originally trained to be very masculine in business. It was just hitting the goals, going after the goals no matter what, and being totally detached from how I was feeling. It was all in the mind. It was the numbers, it was the stats, it was the graphs, it was hitting that goal. Doesn't matter if you're not sleeping, you got to stay up all night and work, and hustle, 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 hustle. And I did that. And probably anyone else that has done that has also felt the burnout that comes with that, the havoc that you wreak on your body, on your mind, on your nervous system, and also all relationships in our life. And so when I hit that and I started to really understand the power of both energy and the body, I realized that the body is like the house to the soul. When we really think about our soul, it lives inside of us. And so when we start to listen to the language of the body and we start to understand what the body is trying to tell us, we're actually having a direct communication with our soul. And when I started to learn that and have like that aha, and I was like, wait, why wouldn't I ask my soul how to lead my business? Like, why am I asking my mind, which is where my ego lives, right? Like, ego lives in the mind, it doesn't live in the body. I can actually bypass my ego, tap into my soul, which has this vast wisdom of like the entire freaking universe. Can I tap into that and ask it the next steps on business? Can I ask the next steps in life? And then can I trust myself to actually listen? There's definitely parts of me that like want to go back to the mind sometimes, because sometimes my intuition or what I'm feeling and what comes through me when I'm channeling sounds so damn crazy that it's like, why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. I want to do this rational thing, this logical thing that I feel like I should do. And every time that I listen to my intuition or I listen to what my body's telling me, the thing works even better than I could have ever even imagined. Like, for example, I just shared I had that 1400 event that I just led. When that idea came through, my ego immediately was like, nope, don't do it. Don't do that event. No one's done anything like that before. It's going to fail. It's going to bomb, right? Like the mind chatter. And I was like, oh, I'm like, it's got to be good. I'm like, if my ego is creating all these crazy ass stories to try to get me to not do this, let me sit with this. Let me breathe. I knew what breath work to do and meditations to do to regulate myself. And I sat with it and I was like, okay, what am I actually meant to do? Intuition, what am I meant to do? I literally channeled it out, connected to my guides. I was like, let's do this. And then I moved forward and took action. And it was the best, biggest experience we have ever hosted. And it was absolutely incredible. And so that's like a very real life example of we can always lean into that fear and we can always lean into like the rational mind of what it thinks we should do. Whereas oftentimes when we can drop in and not just listen to our intuition, but take action upon it, it's better than we could have ever even imagined. And for me, it's always like feminine first and then that masculine application. We haven't evolved to the point where we can just sit and meditate and like millions of dollars just like land in our laps. Like we're just not there yet when it comes to the world and our consciousness. We need to, yes, meditate and connect and listen to ourselves and listen to our body. But then as you shared, like the keyboard, like we need to actually like physically do something about the idea. We have to take action. We have to write the post. We have to hit send. We have to grab the pen and paper and write it down. We have to make the phone call. We have to do alignment first, and then that strategy, that implementation piece second, or the structure allows the flow, right? It's like we have to have that structure to contain our flow, because without it, our feminine energy is wild and all over the place and all of the creative energy. And we need to have that structural 3D piece to bring it to life.
So for somebody who maybe they are in that very masculine mindset right now,
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing the spiritual work, because my audience are spiritual teachers, gurus, mystics,
Amazing.
witches, all of those things.
My
So
favorite people.
I know, my favorite people too. That's why I'm here. That's why I interview folks like you. So for someone who is very advanced in spiritual development,
Yeah.
but they find themselves doing all of the very masculine things, and like they're trying so hard to go back into the feminine, and they keep forgetting. I feel like it's
Mm,
like many things, it's a spiral, right? We do the masculine things until we get burnout, and then we're like, okay, I need to take a step back.
yeah.
For that person who is in that position right now where they're doing, starting to get burnt out, and they're wanting to maybe connect more with their higher self or their soul, as you said.
Yeah.
What is something, a practice that they can do right now to
Mm,
drop in, start getting downloads, and really reconnecting with their soul so that they are better at balancing those two things?
yeah. Great question. Well, I love how you just mentioned there's this like almost like yo-yo effect. It's like they burn out, they know that they need the spiritual tools, they learn the spiritual tools, they start to apply the spiritual tools, and they forget about the spiritual tools, then they burn out again, right? It's like this like cycle that you stay on. And when I'm listening to that, when I hear that, is like, yeah, that's totally normal. It's a lot of what happens in our culture of spiritual teachers that have been raised in the West, because we have this programming of go, 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 do. But our heart and our soul is like, but wait, we know the power of energy and alignment, and come back to the tools. And it's this dance that we play. And so when I'm hearing you share that like pattern that keeps happening, for me, that's why I teach the work that I teach. That's why I teach nervous system tools in the body, because when you repeat patterns like that and it's almost like you forget, it's because the body is stuck on a loop, and it's looping, it's doing the same things over and over again, even though you know you shouldn't do that, even though you know you should put the laptop down, even though you know that you should stop and take a breath and meditate. But you're like, but wait, one more email, or I need to do this one more thing, or I need to scroll again, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. That is your nervous system in a dysregulation pattern. And no matter how much energy healing that you do, no matter how much you sit and try to meditate, until you address that, you're going to stay in this crazy loop, looping and looping and looping, because your body is literally addicted to that, and it's programmed to do that. That nervous system dysregulation and that person is experiencing, and I've done it too, I've been in this energy, that is something that is woven deep within the body, within the fascia, within the emotional system, within the nervous system. And so there's a reprogramming that has to occur, because you can tell that person, you should just go meditate. Why don't you go meditate? Why don't you go talk to your guides? And they're like, yeah, I'll do it in a moment. Or like, yeah, I should do that. And then when they go to do it, they find every reason not to do it. They're like, oh, I should do the dishes. Oh, I should go out right now. Oh, I should fold the laundry. Oh, I should go do this. Oh, maybe I should do this instead. It's because the body is literally addicted to the dopamine hits that it's getting from doing these short bursts of wins, like doing the dishes or folding the laundry or working just a little bit more. It's having this like mental to-do list where it's setting off dopamine hits in the body, and it's making that person feel really good, because the nervous system is like literally stuck. It's stuck in a dysregulated state. So the first thing that I would do is not say, go and meditate or go take a break. That person knows that. Like they consciously know they should do it. but they're not going to do it until their nervous system starts to essentially rewire itself. And the quickest way to start that rewiring process is something that is so simple. It's breathing. There was a study done that I recently read that said over 90% of people are actually breathing incorrectly. And I found that to be so fascinating because that's the one thing that we do to stay alive is breathing. And if we're doing it incorrectly, like it's pretty fucked up, right? Like the one thing that we're meant to do, we're doing it wrong. And they were saying we're breathing incorrectly and it's keeping us in this dysregulated state within our nervous system. And so our nervous system is literally stuck in a sympathetic state, which is a stress response. And so our body constantly is thinking, not our mind, our body and our nervous system is constantly thinking essentially that we're being chased by the bear. And since it's stuck in that, it's doing everything that it can to survive. And to survive, sometimes it's answering all the emails, it's cleaning up, it's doing this, it's doing that, it's running, like it's running, because your nervous system is stuck in this way. And so the quickest way to get out of it is to start to breathe. And this is something that anyone and everyone can do because we do it all the time, is starting to breathe, but breathing in a new way and starting to drop the breath. Because most of the time when you're stuck in that state, the breath is in the chest, or the breath is even in like the lower chest, the upper abdomen. And what you want to do is start taking that breath and dropping it down into the lower belly, like almost visualizing like an anchor or an anvil, like just dropping down into your lower belly and expanding that lower belly. And when we start to drop in and do some long, deep breaths, what happens there is the adrenaline that you're spiking from being stuck in that energy loop, the adrenaline starts to pull from the blood system. So you're no longer feeling like you have to go, 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 go. It starts to literally pull it from the blood system. And also it starts to shift your body from having the sympathetic nervous system turned on to now starting to regulate into the parasympathetic. Like anything, you can't just do it once and be fixed, right? Like no one all of a sudden can like wake up and do a marathon, or all of a sudden they go to the gym and they can pump the heavy weights. This takes time to reprogram the body. Think about how many people have probably been stuck in this state for years. So just like breathing one long deep breath isn't going to heal you overnight, but we can start to retrain the body and regulate. So that way the parasympathetic is actually the baseline versus your sympathetic nervous system is the baseline. So that is like the one thing that you can start doing immediately that will actually have huge results.
That's amazing. Now, is this something that you teach in your light leadership or is it light leadership or light leader?
Yeah, the Light Leader Certification Program. And
Yeah.
yes, it's something that I teach and train in there. And then I also have another program called Academy of Light, because not everyone wants to get trained in these tools, but I also have Academy of Light, which is a business-based building program addressing your nervous system first. And then we apply the business strategies and tools as well to build your own light legacy.
That's awesome. So can you tell me what types of things you're specifically addressing in Academy of Light?
Yeah, all of your common business building problems. As I shared, every ailment has a root cause in the body. And so we take you through the stages of building an online based business. It's a cyclical stage because as women, we're cyclical beings and success isn't linear. It's a constant evolution. And so we've broken down how we built our multiple 7-figure brand. We've broken it up into different sections and portals, and each aspect of the program is connected back to the body and the nervous system. So if you're struggling with conceptualizing your online offer and putting it down on paper, we have a nervous system tool for that. And we also have a strategy tool for that. If you're someone that feels insecure with selling and receiving for your work, which is what a lot of healers struggle with, that's not just a limiting belief, that's actually a nervous system dysregulation. So we teach you how to work through that and reprogram your body. And then we also teach you the business tool for that. So everything's very grounded. We have the body and the business strategy. We talk about content writing, offer creation, all the good stuff that you need to reach and scale to your first 6 figures online. But everything is rooted and grounded in the body and the energy first, and then the strategy second.
I'm glad that you brought up the monetary piece
Yes.
because I'm sure we tend to think it's icky if
Yeah.
we are charging for something that is spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear this a lot from spiritual entrepreneurs who are just starting out, that it's this thing that's not like concrete, right? You can't touch what I do.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they feel this disconnect between the monetary value of what they're doing and having a tangible thing for the person to take home.
Yeah.
So, can you explain or give advice to those who are struggling to charge what they're worth?
Yeah.
How do they figure out what they're worth? And yeah, how to move past those limiting beliefs that spiritual healers shouldn't charge for their services?
Yeah, great question. I think there's a couple of pieces there that I want to touch on, but I will share. I started off really small too. And I think that's part of it. I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but it does connect back to your body and to your nervous system and what you can hold. Your body will never allow you to have success beyond what it deems to be safe. And so for me, when I first started, charging even like $25 for a Reiki healing felt like I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to charge $25. It felt like so much. And I felt such guilt for charging this, which is laughable at this point. But at that time, it felt so scary. And so I just recommend like start with where you're feeling comfortable. Don't feel like you have to charge all this money in the beginning because that's going to dysregulate you even further. And the reason why I share that is one, we want to stay with what feels safe, of course. But two, something that I noticed is when I was charging those $25 sessions, you learn real fast that you should be charging more. Because once you start doing it and you realize how much time it takes to work with people and the energy it takes from you to hold your sessions, I remember after I did 5 of those sessions, I was like, oh my God, what the hell is wrong with me? Like, this is like, by the time I do it and sell it and package it, like I'm making no money on this. So I think it's like a good starting point. But it does come back to I think what a lot of healers struggle with is what you shared is what you do is magic, right? It's super intangible. You can't touch it. And so I've worked with thousands of healers over the last couple of years, and that's like a big common block for people. And so what I teach and what I share is you have to stop trying to prove that your tools work. Like so many healers try to focus on like why Reiki works, why Akashic records are cool, why energy healing helps, what are the chakras, right? Like they're so focused on trying to prove that the tool works versus selling the transformation, right? So many people are like, this is my tool. This is what breath work is, or this is what energy healing is. No, you're focusing on the wrong thing because guess what? I wouldn't even do this. And I know breath work, but like I wouldn't pay thousands of dollars for someone to teach me breath work. I'd be like, it's just breath work. I'm not paying more than $100 for this, right? And so when we stop focusing on the tool and instead focus on the transformation and how that person is going to feel after working with you and what they can possibly achieve, then people see that and they're like, oh, I want that. I want to feel happier. I want to feel healthier. I want to be able to express myself. I want to feel comfortable in my skin. I know after a good energy healing, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I can conquer the fucking world. Like I would pay way more for that than any tangible product that I could actually purchase because we all know energy healing is incredibly powerful. And so, as healers, stop focusing on the tool that you learn, instead, focus on the transformation that can happen. Speak about what happens after the session with you, what is possible. And this isn't focusing on pain points. I think pain points suck. And as healers and as intuitives, we don't want to talk about pain points. We don't want to do that. That feels out of integrity for us. And guess what? When you focus on pain points, you attract in people that are in pain, right? And we don't want that. We want to attract in people that want to heal, that feel empowered in themselves. And so instead, illuminate what's possible, illuminate the transformation and focus on that. And so that's what I would share about that. And as you start to build your nervous system, you start to feel more comfortable receiving more money, making more money, elevating yourself, and so on. But start wherever you're at. Don't feel like you should charge something because that's what the online industry is telling you should charge. Start with what feels comfortable. And like I said, you're going to do that enough and either realize, wow, I chose a really good price per hour, or oh my gosh, I was crazy. I need to charge 5x this.
That is a theme. I've noticed a lot of spiritual, or not even just spiritual entrepreneurs, just entrepreneurs in general who do spiritual work.
Yeah.
One of the things that they all have in common that I've noticed this pattern is their businesses take off when they stop or not stop completely, but when they stop doing the very busy work, masculine, like do,
Yeah.
and when they start opening themselves up more to the spiritual transformation and the
Yeah.
spiritual just energy work, just any of this work, when they start focusing on that, their businesses transform. And
Yeah.
that's when they hit their first 10K month,
Yeah.
their first $1 million year, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. And so it feels counterintuitive, right? Because as you said, we're told, work hard, and working
Yeah.
hard is gonna make you successful.
Yeah.
And it's not true. It's all of the things that you feel are quote unquote blocking you from success, from that monetary value that you are putting on your business, that you think once I hit that number, I'm going to be successful.
Mm.
It's not going to come through the doing, the doing, the doing. It's going to come
Mm.
through the energy work and the energy healing.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. 100%. It comes from being versus doing. And I feel that as healers, I say this a lot, healers, we do business differently. Like, we're not here to force high pressure sales. We're not here to just sell things that feel out of integrity. And so it makes sense that we have to do business differently and create our businesses differently. And so the work for healers is not the doing, it's actually sitting on the meditation pillow, it's doing the energy work, it's channeling their highest self and their guides, and then from there taking action. I think we've just been taught business backwards, right? It's like, let me take the action, and then I realize I'm tired and I'm burnt out. Oh, maybe now I should do the energy healing, whereas it should be flipped around of, let me connect first, let me tap into my highest self, and once I feel regulated and centered, then I take action and then I show up, because we know the power of energy. So once you get into that palpable place that I know you all can get on those meditation pillows, everything you touch is like the Midas touch. Like, everything turns to gold because you yourself are holding a higher frequency.
Absolutely. So if we could just take a trip right now, just really quickly, to talk about how Kundalini plays
Mm,
into all of this. And
yeah.
I want you to explain, because with all of this energy work and we talk about the embodiment of it, Kundalini is really special to you and your business.
Yeah.
How has that transformed your business? How are you using it in your different programs and stuff that you teach, the certifications, and what transformations are you seeing with it?
Yeah, great question. I will say the second I started working with Kundalini energy and bringing it into my business, that's when I stopped doing my basic business of like branding and consulting. And I started, originally was called Kundalini Business Coaching. And that's what's morphed into Light Leader Collective. And our first year, without paid ads, without ClickFunnels, even without a working website, we hit $500,000 in year one. And so it was a huge trajectory and shift in my life, in my business. And the reason why I feel like we reached that big number that first year was the power of not just me working with Kundalini energy, but that was the main focus of what I was teaching and sharing. And it still is the foundation of what we teach and share here as well, because Kundalini energy is an energy that we all have that lives within us. It lives near the base of our spine. And so the mystics and the yogis, what they've said is that this is the same energy that's created everything that we see in the world, is pure divine feminine energy. Now, what's really cool is through scientific studies, they don't call it Kundalini energy, but they do say that there is a light frequency that lives near the base of the spine. And it's through movement and postures that you actually can put pressure on this energy and make it rise up. And so, through the mystic lens, as this energy rises up, it courses through your body, it illuminates your shadow self and transmutes it. And then, as it courses through your body and makes its way back home, it rises up to the top of your crown to meet her divine counterpart, Shiva, the divine masculine. So it's just this like full mythical experience. Now, through the lens of science, this light frequency energy spirals and uncoils and rises up through the central spinal column, and it descends down through the vagus nerve, which is the largest nerve in the entire body, and it illuminates the emotional system and begins the regulation of the nervous system. So however way you slice it, whether it's the mystic lens or the scientific lens, there's a powerful energy. It's literally light energy that courses through our bodies. And I found it to be such a quantum shifter in my business and in my clients' businesses, is because it's allowing you to heal that shadow self and transmute it. So that way you are becoming a more whole version of yourself. And when we become a more whole version of ourselves, we're happier, we're more abundant, we're more aligned, we trust ourselves more. And those are all huge factors in leadership and just being amazing humans and being able to build our businesses.
Kundalini energy for me, I haven't worked with it enough.
Hmm.
I know that it's part of my journey to explore a little bit more. But from what I can tell, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like exactly what I was just talking about with entrepreneurs who find success finally when they figure out a healing modality that works for them. That's
Yeah.
when their business transforms. It sounds like Kundalini was like that for you.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I love that. So when we're doing all of this energy work, and you are facilitating and you're certifying many, many women.
Yeah.
How do you protect your own energy while moving through all of these different programs and all of these different people and their energies? How do you protect your own?
Yeah. I do the work that I teach. So everything that I'm teaching and sharing, I'm doing on myself. And I think it's so important when we're healers that we don't just talk about it, that we be about it. And I wouldn't be able to hold this energy. I wouldn't be able to teach these tools if I myself wasn't the walking, talking embodiment of everything that I was teaching, sharing, serving, and selling as well.
Love it. So when you're teaching your light leaders program,
Mm-hmm.
what qualities do you notice in the people who are truly ready to step into a light leader role? And
Yeah.
what is a light leader?
Yeah. Well, for me, a light leader is any person that feels a calling to raise the vibration of the planet. And that could be someone that works 9 to 5, someone that wants to start their own business. There's someone that wants to bring more light into the world and help others heal. And within that, typically the people that show up or that arrive for the light leader certification program are people that are feeling that call, have felt that call, and they want to know, how do I help people heal? Maybe they've gone through their own spiritual awakenings. Maybe they're already building their businesses, but they know that there's a deeper layer to healing and facilitating at a higher level and a mastery level.
That just sounds so like perfectly aligned with the work that I'm doing, trying to. One of the things I say is the reason that I got into author coaching spiritual entrepreneurs in particular is because I know that books heal people because I've been healed through books. And so raising the vibration of the collective
Yeah.
starts or can start one book at a time. So
Yeah.
if your book reaches one person and it affects them positively, it ripples out into the rest of the world. And that is really the work that we are here to do.
I agree.
Is there anything that you want to tell my audience about your work right now that they can maybe work with you so that they can
Mm.
deepen their practice, so that they can bring more transformations and more healing to more people?
Yeah. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to even connect with your audience. If you are feeling this call to level up your leadership, to deepen the mastery in your techniques and skills. And if you're noticing that maybe there's this missing gap in your healing experiences and want to learn more about the body, I would love to have a conversation and connect with anyone. This is my life's work, and I love being able to share this work because I know the power of this work. As you shared, it creates this ripple effect of light in the world, and together we can truly raise the vibration of the planet. And through understanding and learning how to heal the body, we not just liberate ourselves, but we become more happier and healthier. And then we inspire that in others. And so this is available for anyone, regardless of what their profession is. So don't feel like you have to be boxed into something to learn these tools. These tools are available for anyone that has a body and wants to be able to heal.
I love it. Last question.
Yeah,
This is a question I've been asking everybody because I find it reminds people of why they do this work.
sure.
What is one transformation that you've seen in a student or a client that has really had an impact on you?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Hmm. Well, we just had a student recently. She was struggling with a lot of health issues and doctors couldn't figure it out. And she was trying like all these like elimination diets and like doing all the things, and she couldn't nail it. And she stumbled upon my work and she came to one of our events, and she had never experienced any of these tools before. And she took one of the tools that I taught, and I didn't know this, I didn't know she was doing this, but she just started to practice the somatic tool every day. It felt good in her body. She's like, I'm just going to keep doing it. And she was able to heal herself. And I can't say that happens for anyone and everyone, but it was one of those experiences where you're just reminded of the power of energy and you're reminded of the power of the body. And because she was able to heal herself, she was like, Brianna, I need to join your certification program because whatever that was, it worked. And now I want to help others. And now she is helping others. She just launched her first program using these somatic tools. She's helping other women heal. And again, it creates that ripple effect of being able to share the tools for her. She healed herself. Now she's helping other women heal. They're going to heal. They're going to impact their friends, their families, and just creates this beautiful domino effect of light. And so that's one of my favorite stories because I didn't even know it was happening. And I think that's really beautiful that it's like you don't even know the lives that you're touching sometimes. And I wanted to share that because as healers, oftentimes we don't recognize how many lives we're actually teaching and reaching. And so don't use the likes or the engagement on your social media as like a barometer of the healing work that you're doing and how many lives that you're impacting. Your work is going near and far, whether you even realize it or not.
Wow, that's so extraordinary. Congratulations, because I mean, I feel like that's the pinnacle, right? It's having somebody heal to such a degree that it totally transforms their lives. And this is such a tangible example. It was health problems. It was manifesting in her body.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna get emotional thinking about it, but that's really beautiful. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing this work. It's really beautiful. Okay, people where can people find you, connect with you, take your programs and courses and experience you?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I love hanging out on Instagram. So if you want to come hang out with me, say hello, slide into my DMs. It's really me on there and not a robot or an assistant. You can find me at I am Brianna Rose. And I also have a free Facebook group called the Rising Light Sisterhood. That's really amazing as well and filled with thousands of other light leaders across the globe. And if you do want to learn more about our certification or Academy of Light, just reach out to me on Instagram. Happy to share the details and see if it's a fit.
I love it. Thank you so much, Brianna, for coming on, for blessing us with your divine wisdom. And I cannot wait to have you back on. And I know my listeners are going to get so much value out of
Hmm.
this episode. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for my listeners, I will see you all in the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Come follow us on social media at our handle at WordWitchCC. That's WordWitch, C for copy, C for consulting, and don't forget to hit subscribe to keep the magic flowing. See you in the next episode.